Am I repeating?
It probably just like fucked up. It looks like we're back.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Cool.
everyone. This apparently is just how our
Do you guys
streaming
know
goes.
where it cut off? Just so you guys can actually still hear the whole thing. I can wait a couple seconds.
Ready, spread on repeat. Someone clip it. Oh, you're on Brady spread.
Uh,
CIA punks, fuck off. Seriously, we're like this is super interesting and also like
yeah,
horrible.
this is we're on like what page 12. And I'm like,
I'm hooked.
this is
Like, yeah,
exactly. I hate that we are not going to read all this in one night
I know,
because I just want to read it all right now. I want to
right?
read it all in one sitting, but we're not. Okay, so Brady spread. So yes, yeah, someone clip it. We'll turn it into a soundbite too. Okay, so the scene was witnessed by several blacks, and the news of how the gambler had defied Brady spread immediately throughout the black district. This was bad stuff for Brady. It might lead to niggers getting notions, as the cops put it.
Oh my
A
god,
few days passed
fucking
now.
hate cops.
Yeah, and Brady made his move. He went to the gambling house when the game was on and was shot dead. Bye, bitch. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Fuck
I'm not
you.
sad at all. Some anonymous black bard wrote a song about it all. Brady, why didn't you run? You know what you done wrong. You came in the room when the game was going on. Brady went below looking mighty curious. Neville said, where you from? I'm from St. I'm from East St. Louis. St. Louis come this way. I've been expecting you every day. Yeah, it is all your fault, Caboose. I'm gonna blame you for that. Even though can't really blame you for the first one. I'll blame you for the second time the stream cut off.
We'll just blame stuff on Caboose when Hayes isn't here.
Yeah. So that's dialectics, right?
That is exactly what dialectics is.
If it's not Hayes' fault, it's Caboose's fault.
Hmm, hmm.
It's always one of the two. Okay. The song was immediately popular in the black community and became a symbol of rebellious feelings. Mother said that when she arrived in St. Louis, blacks were singing the song all over town. The police realized the danger in such notions and began to arrest anyone they caught singing it. 40 years later, I was pleasantly surprised to hear Carl Sandburg sing the same song as part of his repertoire of folk ballads of the Midwest. I had not heard it since Mother had sung it to us. Mother later moved to Kansas City, Missouri, and then to South Omaha. Her marriage there to my father was her second. A very young girl of Moberly, she had married John Harvey, but he was, to use her own words, a no good yellow nigger who expected me to support him. They had one child, Gertrude, before he deserted her. So I'm going to take a break from here right too because we've seen Chicago come up, which is obviously a pretty big city for obviously a lot of black movement and even the communist movement. For example, Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party were really big in Chicago,
Hmm.
and also Emmett Till was also from Chicago, but he was I believe he was on vacation or just out of town at the time when those disgusting people killed him. And did you know, actually, to this day, the sign commemorating Emmett Till, gets still shot at, right?
Wait, what'd you say? Say it one more time.
The sign that commemorates Emmett Till still gets shot at.
Really? Holy fuck.
Hmm. To this day.
Uh,
And, we want to pretend like, oh, no, we moved past it. Oh, that's all in the past. No, it's still happening. And of course, Omaha is also brought up several times, the birthplace of Malcolm X. So it's really cool, seeing all these different cities, and knowing a lot of other history too. Like Omaha, hey, that's where Malcolm X is from. Seeing Chicago, hey, Fred Hampton, the Black Panthers, Emmett Till. Yeah, I don't know how many times it's been replaced. And also, I believe the same thing was happening to Fred Hampton's grave. Yeah, the person who accused Emmett Till admitted she was wrong, and he did nothing wrong, and she's still alive today.
She's a piece of shit.
She is in hiding.
She should be.
Of course, exactly. Because she knows that nobody's going to care that she's an old lady now. Nobody's going to care when she gets what she deserves. Because, I mean, let's get real here. You're going to be like, oh, this is a helpless old lady. I don't care. Did you see what happened? And Emmett Till was a child. I don't care if she's an old lady now. At the time when she did, she did.
White people tears. Because white people tears get people killed.
Exactly. That's also the same thing with white tears. Again, with what started the they call it a race riot. It was more like a massacre than anything in Tulsa.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Tulsa,
yeah, it's Oklahoma. Tulsa, yeah. Oklahoma, and yeah, that was another case of white Black Wall Street. That was another case of white tears. So if you guys don't know the story, what supposedly happened, this is the story of the white people. Of course, it's probably not true. What happened was this black kid supposedly groped a white woman on an elevator. When the most likely story is that as he was walking into the elevator, he tripped. Maybe.
Or the most likely story is that he looked
didn't
at
touch
her
at all.
Or looked, nothing, Emmett Till didn't do anything, right?
Yeah, Emmett Till didn't do anything.
So there's a good chance that that person didn't do anything.
Yeah. Because there's definitely, I believe, he probably didn't even do anything. He probably did look at her, but there's also, of course, a chance that he did, fall in and she overreacted when he tripped or whatever. It's like, oh my goodness, he's trying to rape me or whatever. And of course, I believe the cops did know that and okay, whatever. So they did release him. They had nothing on him. I think they also knew that he didn't actually do anything. Right. So they released him, which I mean, surprising for cops in the South. Right. So they released him, and of course, white people were not happy about that. So it was later that night where that's when they started their raid onto it. They had planes, if you didn't know. They had planes flying overhead and dropping bombs onto there. And then the state guard was called, and they did nothing. They surrounded Black Wall Street, and I believe they arrested every black person that was fleeing. So it just goes to show just how disgusting this country's history is and how it still has not really made up for it. It has not changed. Because let's get real here. Not a lot of people would know about the Tulsa Race Massacre had it not been for TV shows. For TV shows like Watchmen and Lovecraft Country. Had it not been for those two TV shows, a lot of people would not know what the Tulsa Race Massacre is.
Is it Lovecraft
Country.
Country? Yeah, I really liked that show, but
it was a good show. They canceled it.
I just heard they canceled it. What the fuck? Why'd they do that?
They were gonna do. Of course, you're not gonna say this is the exact reason why they're doing it, but
racism. Fuck.
Yeah. So what they wanted to do was kind of, how do create a black country, how I'm talking about the Black Belt. That's right. What they were going to want to do. Say, hey, on season 2, go over hey, this is this is where the black people live. This is the black self-determination, and then here's where the indigenous people, they got their land back. So this season 2 is going to be a land back basically, really, and giving self-determination to the black people in America. And then HBO or whatever was no, let's cut it for season 2, which has no reason to it because it was very popular.
It was a great show. It was a great show.
It was a great show. It was fairly popular among anybody who watched it. So the fact that they cut it, makes no sense, and it is just very easy to understand. It's very easy to make the conclusion that they did it because of that.
Right. Ugh. What a cool show that would have been. Like, damn. I want to see a world like that be created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely super weird that it was canceled. I like the show. But oh well, what are you gonna do about it? You can't. So, meanwhile, a show based on the Philip K. Dick novel about an alternative history where the Nazis World War II is exactly. An alternative history where the Nazis win. Yeah, that's all good. But an alternative history where black people get self-determination, indigenous people get land back. Oh no, no, no! Got to put an end to it.
Which one is that?
It's called Man in High Castle.
Oh, yeah, that show's boring.
Yeah, I watched it and I was
It's so boring.
like as a show, I believe as an idea, it could work as a show, but they did not write it well. It's
No.
just so boring.
It's so fucking boring.
Yeah, I think it has potential to be a good
I
show.
mean,
Just not
yeah,
a.
it had great potential to be like, like at
Mhm.
least interesting. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
but,
just
I
can't
was
get
watching it
myself to
like,
watch it. It's just so fucking boring.
yeah, I was watching. I was like, come on, you should. How you're not getting me interested, hooked on having America split down to the middle by Nazis and the Imperial Japan?
I know. That could
How
be
am I not
really
getting
fucking
hooked into
cool.
this? Exactly. So boring. But that gets to keep on going. But Lovecraft
Is it
Country
still
does not.
going? Shut up.
Well, it might be over. I don't know. It could be continue
Yeah.
going. I stopped paying attention to it. Oh, pretty sure it finally ended. Okay, but still.
Good
How many
riddance.
seasons was it? Too many seasons.
Krasnov. Thank you for following. Are you a real army? Yeah, we
Yeah.
are a real army. We are an army of
Yeah.
two right now. We will fight you. And we will win.
Mhm.
There was time travel, alternate universe stuff included. I don't know. It
Listen, when
was
time
really
travel is
confusing. It was just,
involved in TV
yeah, I like
shows,
time travel and alternate universe
yeah.
stuff, but like
I love Doctor
it
Who.
just didn't. I
All
don't
right,
know
I
why.
love time
It was
travel
so
stuff.
boring. Like there was nothing interesting in it. It just wasn't good.
What
What
kind
kind
of
of
leftists
leftists
are
are
you?
you?
The kind of people who think leftist is a stupid term.
Yeah, we don't call ourselves leftists.
Yeah,
A friend of mine thinks you're probably Maoist just
I
based on
am.
the name. I am studying, but yes, I am a Marxist, studying Marxist.
You're a student of Maoism, baby.
Yes, I like Mao. I think he's cute.
Yeah, so I think also talking about not obviously we're reading the book to learn about the history, but I believe this kind of discussion of it, Black Bolshevik, not only gives us a chance to learn about the history of this, but also for us to talk about how race is today and talk about the history that we did learn about and the history that we did know.
Right.
So yeah, also in the chat, this is a great time to discuss these kind of things. It is a really hard topic to talk about, especially since how long a lot of us have experienced it, have seen it, and the fact that it has not really, although it's claimed to have gone away, it's not. A lot
It's
of us
not.
experience racism. I mean, for example, I was walking on campus, right? An open campus where anybody's allowed to walk on, all right? You don't need a student ID to walk on campus. Of course, security guy decided to stop me and hassle me about showing my ID, proving that
Shut
I am
up.
of the yeah,
No fucking
proving that I
way.
was a student of that. I was like, I just kind of just here's my ID, whatever, and walked off. But honestly, deep down inside, I was so fucking pissed. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, you.
Oh wait, this is an open campus. As I said, it's not a kind of place where you're required to have your ID out. Of course, there are definitely closed campuses out there where you need to show your ID at all times to prove that you go there. Like, well, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But on open campuses where anybody could just walk on, it is definitely frustrating to see that kind of thing. Yeah, Maui is cool. Choice.
Yeah, he's a fucking prick. But yeah, I don't. I used to call myself a Marxist Leninist, but like I am like trying to do. I don't know. I'm studying other stuff now too, Maoism. So I've kind of. I'm just gonna call myself a Marxist for now until I
Mhm.
read more. You know.
Yeah, you fully understand what you're getting to.
Right. I think that's smartest for me.
All right, I'm going to continue reading.
Okay.
So Gertie came to Omaha sometime after my mother and married my father's youngest brother, George. I have a feeling that mother promoted this match. The two hard-working, sober Hall brothers must have been quite a catch. As I remember mother in my childhood years, she was a small, brown-skinned woman, rather on the plumpish side, with a large and beautiful soft brown eyes. She had a hump Indian nose of the Thorpe family. My first memory of her is hearing her sing as she did house. She had a melodious contralto voice and what seemed to me to be an endless and varied repertoire. Much of what I had known about this period I had learned from her songs. Those include lullabies. Go to sleep, you little pickaninny. Mama's gonna swat you if you don't.
Oh
And
goodness.
many, yeah, and many spirituals and jubilee songs. There were also innumerable folk ballads and the popular songs of her day, like Down at the Ball and Where Did You Get That Hat? Then there was his old song, the slaves sang about their masters fleeing the Union Army. The year of Jubilo. Oh, darkies, have you seen the massa with the mustache on his face? He was going down the road this morning like he was going to leave this place. Oh, the massa run, ha ha, and the darkies sing, ho ho. It must be now the kingdom coming in the year of Jubilo. Mother never went to school a day in her life, but she had a phenomenal memory and was a virtual repository of black folklore. My brother Otto taught her to read and write when she was 40 years old. She had stories of life on the plantations of the hollers they used. When a slave wanted to talk to a friend on the neighboring plantations, she would throw back her head and half sing, half yell, "Oh, Bessie, I wanted to see you." Often you could hear one of the hollers a mile away. When mother was a girl, camp meetings were a big part of her life. She had songs she remembered from the meetings like "I Don't Feel Weary, No Ways Tired." And she would imitate the preachers with all their promises of fire and brimstone. Later, when we lived in South Omaha, she was very active in the African Methodist Episcopal Church as a means of raising funds. She used to organize church theatricals. Otto would help her read the plays. She would then direct them and usually play the leading role herself. She was a natural mimic. I heard her go through entire plays from beginning to end.
Damn, how do you get the name just Kami?
Huh?
Somebody just has the name Kami. Must have been like one of the first people on here or something to get that name.
Mm. Congratulations to you being able to get that name.
I know, right? Created in 2016.
Howdy, Connie. The original Connie. The father to us all. Or mother. I don't know.
Hello, Kami. Okay.
So, from beginning to end, imitating the voices, even the male ones, and the actions of the performers. In addition to caring for Otto, Eppa, and myself, Mother got jobs catering parties to rich white families in North Omaha. She would bring us back all sorts of goodies and leftovers from these parties. Sometimes she would get better with her friends among the other domestics. and they would have a great time panning their employers and exchanging news of the white folks' scandalous doings. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the term domestics was also used for black, um, not necessarily slaves, but they were pretty much still treated as them as post Civil War, where people were typically like maids and butlers and child carers. They were called domestics. If you did not know. Mother had a great fighting spirit of her family. She was a strong minded woman with great ambition for her children, especially for us boys. Eppa, who was a plain black girl, was sensitive but physically tough, courageous, and a regular tomboy. Worried about her future, Mother insisted that she learn the piano and arranged to take lessons at 25 cents each.
Damn, that's a good price.
Hold
Actually, it
on.
probably wasn't back then, but
Yeah. Ooh, they every now and then, like at least once a month, you get asked about your fishies. With your fishes in
oh
the
yeah, they
background.
are fishes. This is a green terror cichlid, and these
Mm,
are neocardina, which are little shrimp, and one pea puffer, which is the size of a pea, very small.
yeah. I think eventually, if when I do move out of where I am right now, I can't have any pets. But once I do, I'm definitely gonna get some fish because fish are just great pets all
They're
around.
so
They're very,
great. They don't make
really
any
calming.
noise.
They're
They're
very calm.
beautiful. Yeah. Ugh, I love to sit in front of mine
Yeah, very relaxing just to watch them.
for sure.
Mhm. Okay, where am I? For her to take lessons at 25 cents each. Oh yeah, we were talking about that and how uh yeah, 25 cents obviously great now. Steal to get piano lessons for 25 cents a day
Wait, what?
or
What was the
25 cents each.
year about? What was the year?
I think it was still in the 1800s.
Okay, we're gonna do.
I know.
18. We'll just do 1850.
Nah, not 1850. That's not for sure. See, I do not see a year, but
$1
so
in
when
1850 is worth $35 today.
ooh,
So
okay, so Eppa, the person that's been talking about now, she was born in 1896.
1896.
Hmm. So of course this would be obviously after. There's no way she was getting piano lessons the week she was born, but from that point we could
It
probably
was pretty close.
early 1900s. Yeah,
Okay.
still. Though she learned to play minor classics such as Poet and Peasant, arias from such operas as Aida and Second Trovatore, accompanied the choir, and so on. Appa never liked music very much and was not consoled by it the way Mother was. As a wife, Mother had a way of making Father feel the part of the man in the house. She flattered his ego and always addressed him as Mr. Hall in front of guests and us children. Life in South Omaha. You ask what town I love the best. South Omaha, South Omaha. The fairest town of all the rest, South Omaha, South Omaha, where year's papillion slipstream to where Missouri's waters gleam, our fairest town, our town of mine, South Omaha, South Omaha. In the early part of the century, the days of my youth, South Omaha was an independent city. In 1950, it was annexed to become part of the largest city of Omaha. Like many Midwestern towns, the city took its name from the original inhabitants of the area. In this case, it was the Omaha Indians. Okay, so real quick, this is at a time. This was at a time before Indians was no longer used as a term to describe indigenous people. So just clear that up. Of the Sioux tribal family, the area was a camping of the Lewis and Clark expedition of 1804. It grew in importance when it became a licensed trading post and an important outfitting point during the Colorado Gold Rush. But the main growth of South Omaha came in the 1880s as the meat packing industry developed. In 1877, the first refrigerated railroad cars were perfected. This made it possible to slaughter livestock in the Midwest and ship the meat to large markets in eastern cities. As a result, the meatpacking industry grew tremendously in the Midwest. The city leaders saw the opportunity and encouraged the expanding packing industry to settle there, offering them special tax concessions, and so forth. The town, situated on a plateau back from the Big Muddy, the Missouri River, began to grow. Soon, the three largest packing centers in the country, all of the big packers of the time, Amore, Swift, Wilson, and Quebec, had a big branches there. Quebec's main plant was in South Omaha. The industry brought with it growing railroad traffic. As a boy, I watched the of liners of cars as they carried livestock in from the west and butchered meat to ship out to the east. The Burlington, the Chicago, and Northwestern, the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific, Illinois Central, and Rock Island, the Union Pacific, all of these lines had terminals there. By 1910, Omaha was the fourth largest railway center in the country. When I was born in 1898, South Omaha was a bustling town of about 20,000. Most of these 20,000 people were foreign born and first generation immigrants. The two largest were the Irish and the Bohemians, or Czechs. There were a large sprinkling of other Slavic groups, Poles, Russians, Serbs, as well as Germans, Greeks, and Italians. The Bohemians were the largest ethnic group in town. They lived mainly in the southern part of town, towards the river, in the Brown Park of Albright sections. One thing that impressed me was their concern with education. They were a cultured group of people. I can't remember any of them being illiterate, and they had their own newspaper. They were involved in the political wheelings and dealings of the town and were successful at it. At one time, both the mayor and chief of the police were Bohemians. The Irish were the second largest group, scattered throughout the town. The newly arrived poor shanty Irish would first settle on Indian Hill near their stockyards. There were two classes of Irish, the shanty Irish on one hand and the old settlers or the lace curtain Irish on the other. This second group, who had settled only one generation before, was mostly made up of middle class, white collar, civil service, and professional workers who lived near North Omaha. There were also a few Irish who were very rich, managers and executives, who lived in Omaha proper. They had become well assimilated into the community. The tendency was for the poorer Irish to live in South Omaha, and those who had made it to one degree or another moved up to the North Omaha or Omaha proper. There were only a few dozen black families in South Omaha, scattered throughout the community. There was no black ghetto, and I saw it, no Negro problem. This was due undoubtedly to our small numbers, although there was a relatively large number of blacks living in North Omaha. The black community there had grown after blacks were brought in as strike breakers during 1894 strike in the packing industry, but no real ghetto developed after World War One.
Oh my god, that's what Stelino was trying to say.
Yeah, I do remember that.
They just didn't do it that good. Uh oh, did we lose Reggie? Shoot. Reggie. Uh-oh. Can you all still hear me? Am I here? Reggie, where are you? Wake up. Reggie, no.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. You froze. Here we go.
Why am I black? I don't know. I don't know why I'm black. It's a mystery to me. I'm still trying to solve it.
Oh shoot, where did you go? I lost you.
I can hear you, Sal.
Can you hear me now? I think I found. Oh, you're really
Yeah.
big. Okay.
Hmm.
We have fun here. Okay. Reggie is back
Yeah,
on
to
the
Mr.
screen.
Bird 933. Your message is deleted, but I don't know why I'm black.
Why are you black? What the fuck?
I don't know. It's not. It's not like I made a decision. Like woke up one day, like you know what? Having it too easy. Let's play this game in hard mode.
Oh my god. That is horrible. And you know who fucking. Somebody actually did that. South Park.
Hmm.
Fractured but whole. That game, like to play on hard mode, that's what it does. It's
That's terrible, but I can't help but laugh. It's one of those things where you know you're laughing through the pain.
yeah, it's definitely a laughing to avoid crying type of
Hmm.
situation. Oh
But
fuck.
yeah, that discussion that Stelino had, it was definitely his phrasing was weird, and overall he was wrong when he said that the term scab came from use against minorities. It was used against them, but that's not where the term was created.
Right.
The
Yeah.
term was just created for strikebreakers, and yes, there is definitely a history of minorities being used as strikebreakers because they were willing to take less pay.
Right.
Does not change the fact that in today's world, although I'm pretty sure there's still a heavy minority of the term scab, but in today's world, they're still not, they're traitors essentially. They're betraying a proletarian cause. Yeah, his argument was bad, and he uses some true shit as a cover for being bad. Yeah, he definitely did use it as a cover, which I mean I am not a fan of. Especially trying to use black people as a cover for his wrong take. Like, no, dude,
Right.
don't drag us into this. Just admit you were wrong.
Right. Okay, sorry, continue.
Mhm. But yeah, seriously, okay. CIA is trying to kill us here.
Oh my god, are
Three
we fucked
times.
again?
No, I'm just talking about now since I cut out earlier. CIA is trying to kill us, all right? They don't
Right.
want us talking about Harry Haywood. And the fact that racism is still a problem in America.
His argument more applies to like factories that move to Mexico so bosses can pay their workers lower wages. Those Mexican workers aren't scabs, they're just forced into that place where they need to work, right?
That's different. That's not crossing the picket line.
Right.
That's factories just moving to where they can pay people less. And can you betray a cause you don't identify with? What if they don't understand themselves in a proletarian way? There's definitely a sense of ignorance to it. Yeah, most people don't really think of the word proletarian like, oh yes, we're all in this together. But you do know when you're going in, you're going against a strike. These
Right.
people are striking for a better to be treated much better in their job, and you know this when you're going. So
Right.
yes, maybe me saying betray the cause is a bit over dramatic, but it still holds to the fact that these people do know what they're doing. They know that they're going against people
I
who are
don't think it is
striking.
dramatic. I don't know. Like I don't I think it is a betrayal. I don't I think it's just spot on and people need to
Yeah,
deal with what they're doing, you know? Like it is a betrayal of the workers. You don't have to call them proletariats, but you know
yeah.
what you're doing. Undermining what they're doing. It's fucked up. Scabs are well informed by their bosses of what's going on and are often chaperoned to work. Yeah, it's a
I
cool
actually did
choice.
not know that.
Hmm.
What's up, ICB3?
What up?
I start calling Ichabod 3.
Ichabod.
Ichabod 3. Ichabod 3.
Welcome in, Dorian.
Alright. Our family lived in the heart of the Bohemian neighborhood in South Omaha. Nearly all our neighbors were Bohemians. They came from many backgrounds. There were workers and peasants, professionals, artists, musicians, and other skilled Austrians. Artisans, my bad. All fleeing from the oppressive rule of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That's where I was getting that mixed up. I read Austro ahead and just got them mixed up. They were friendly people and kept up their language and traditions. On Saturdays, families would gather at one of the beer gardens to sing and dance. I remember watching them dance Scottishes and polkas, listening to the beautiful music of their bands and orchestras, or running after the great marching bands when they were in a parade. On special occasions, they would bring out their colorful costumes. Much of their community life centered around gymnastic clubs, scholars or turners halls which they had established. There were differences in how the ethnic groups related to each other and to the blacks in town. In those days, Indian Hill was the stomping ground of teenage Irish toughs. One day, a mob of predominantly Irish youths ran the small Greek colony out of town, where one of their members allegedly killed an Irish cop. I remember seeing the Greek community leaving town one Sunday afternoon. There were men, women, and children, about 100 in all, walking down the railroad tracks, carrying everything they could hold. Some of their houses had been burned, and a few of them had been beaten up in town.
You want me to read?
Yeah, hold on. Kind of lost place here. And yeah, you could take part. I think it'd be alright for you to read.
I'll stop reading if
Just
there's a bad word, okay? I
yeah.
promise. I will not read the bad words.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't want to put you in that awkward situation.
Okay. When one comes up, I'll
Mhm.
just pass it over.
Yeah.
Okay. We should have seen the danger for us in this. But one black man even boasted to my father about how he helped run the Greeks out. My father called him a fool. What business did you have helping that bunch of whites? Next time it might be you they run out. The incident was an ominous sign of tension that were to come many years later. At the time, however, our family got along well with all the immigrant families in our immediate neighborhood. I loved the sweet, haunting melodies of the Irish folk ballad, Rose of Tralee, Mother Macri, and many other popular songs like My Irish O'Mallio or and oh God, what is this word?
Go
Agradawan.
now.
Agragagawan. That's how I'm gonna
A
go.
Grog Huan. A Grog Huan. I want to go with that one.
Okay. I want to go back to Oregon. Oregon.
Oh,
Whichever
it
one do you
might
prefer?
a Grog Huan. I want to go back to Oregon.
Ooh.
Maybe. 'Cause I feel like it would rhyme. It should rhyme.
One of the mods check that link. I want to see who that link is.
Yeah. Never has a chance.
Yeah. I just want to see what that is. But I don't want to click it on the screen. Okay.
It's a USA hole. USA hole. That's hilarious.
There was a bohemian couple living next door. On occasion, Mr. Reha would get a bit too much under his belt. He'd come home and really raise hell. When this happened, Mrs. Reha scurried to Officer Bingham, excuse me, Jesus Christ, I can't read, the black cop, to get some help. I remembered one afternoon when Bingham came to lend a hand in taming him. The bohemian was a little guy compared to him. Officer Bingham threw him down out into the yard and plunked himself down on Rehal's back. Dust flew as he kicked and thrashed and tried to get out from under the black man. Bingham just rode the storm. And when Rehal raised his head, he'd smack him around until the rebellion subsided. What the fuck? Had enough? He'd yell at his victim. You gonna behave now and mind what Mrs. Reha says? All the while, she was running around them, waving her apron. Oh my god, really? Beat him some more, Mr. Bingham. Please, make him be good. What
Jesus.
the fuck? Finally, either Bingham or got tired or Mr. Reha just gave up and peace returned to the neighborhood. Police and community relations were less tense then. The cops knew how to control a situation without using guns. Often this meant they'd get into actual fistfights. In those days, there was a big black guy in town named Sam, a beef lugger like my father. Sam was a nice, quiet guy, but on occasion he'd get drunk and fight anyone within arm's length, which was a big area. The cops generally handled it by fighting it out with him. They'd just go, like, who wants to go fight Sam? Jesus. But I
Play
remember,
rock, paper, scissors, so whoever loses has to go fight Sam.
for real. But I remember one time Sam really caused a row. He was outside the bar on J Street up in Omaha proper. During the course of his drunk, he'd beaten up 5 or 6 of the regular cops. This called for extreme measures. Briggs, the chief police, came to the scene to restore law. He marched up to Sam and he threw out his chest. Now, Sam, it's time for you to behave, you hear? He even pulled out his .38 to show him he meant business. But Sam was not ready to behave. He came at Briggs, intending to lay him out like he'd done with the other officers. Briggs backed up one step and said, Sam, you stop. You hear me, Sam? It's time to stop now. Sam forced Briggs all the way back into his carriage. Once Briggs was in, he delivered his final threat. Sam, you come down to City Hall on Monday and you see me. This just can't happen this way. Briggs drove off. He fucking drove off. Well,
Peace. All right.
you know, I don't know. That's like community policing, like that. He's like,
Yeah, that's definitely much different to what we see today. I
Yeah.
mean, hilarious that this is early 1900s, or maybe 1800s, late 1800s, and it's just imagine that this
he didn't kill him,
huge
but
black
he's
guy
still going to get
went around
repercussions because he was
beat
like,
up cops.
"You're gonna see
Yeah.
me on Monday."
He
You
went
hear,
around
Sam?
beat up cops. Yeah, he went up beating up cops, and he went at another cop, and they still didn't kill him. I'm like, it's so different compared to today. It's just so mind-boggling to see this happen over 100 years ago in
Yeah, I
America,
kind of
in the
slowed down
South.
reading because like I was bracing myself for reading like Sam gets
Yeah.
shot, but that's not what
Yeah.
happened. So that was
No.
interesting.
In the U.S., a black person just walking down the street, and all of a sudden, 10 cops surround him.
For real.
And like, so it's just so completely different. It's just astonishing, really. And yeah, this is another way of, community policing, not having this armed militant wing of the bourgeois inflicting terror upon the proletariat. Completely different. And actual people just like, hey, you're causing trouble. You're kind of fighting everybody.
Mhm.
You need to stop doing that.
Yeah. So
Stop
okay.
punching
So
people, please.
so yeah, he just told him to come to City Hall on Monday, and so Briggs drove off. Monday morning came, and Sam went to City Hall. He was fined for being drunk and disorderly. He didn't fight the court and willingly paid the fine. It seemed like an unwritten agreement. The cops wouldn't shoot when Sam was on a spree. When it was over, Sam would go pay his fine, and and that would end the whole business. Our family was the only black family in our neighborhood, and we were pretty well insulated from
Yeah,
the
Keish.
racist.
We understood that. It's bad. Yeah, so Keish, real quick, clicked on the link, checked it out. It was a streamer saying the F slur. It's, of course,
Is it
horrible.
U.S. of a hole? Or is that's the streamer? Is that what's the context?
Yeah, it is. Murrow says, yeah.
Because I think I know that streamer, but I think that it's like what were they talking about?
Hmm.
Hello, Pick Okra.
Just got here. Who? Hi. Well, we are reading um, the autobiography of Harry Haywood. It is called Black Bolshevik. Content warning, real quick. I didn't say it when new people came in, and I do apologize for that. We are going to be reading a lot of heavy subject matter, specifically racism, Jim Crow, and a lot of hate crimes. And there are going to be, obviously, slurs that are going to be said. Of course, I'm going to read them, obviously, for very obvious
I'm not gonna read the
reasons.
slurs.
No. So I'll be going over this, and it's all extremely important to the story. You have to learn what these people were saying and what these people were thinking, and if it's a lot, I understand if you want to check out, but it's still very important to learn. If you think you can stomach it, you should try. But yes, once again, it is a heavy subject matter.
Yes. As children, we were only very dimly aware of what Dubois called the veil of color between races, or between the races. I first became aware of the veil, not from anything that happened in the town, but from what my parents and grandparents told me about how Southern whites had persecuted blacks and how they had suffered under slavery. I remembered grandfather and grandmother Thorpe showing me the scars they had on their backs from the overseer's lashes. I remember Pa reading newspaper accounts of the endless reign of lynch terror in the South, and about how the 1908 riot of Springfield, Illinois. In 1908, Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion, defeated the Great White Hope, Jim Jeffries. Oh my God, that's what. Do you know who Jesse Peterson calls Trump the Great White Hope?
Ooh, I don't like that. I didn't know that. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. Like, why are you doing that, bro? Okay. Uh,
Race relations, pretty much. It's over Black Bolshevik, Harry Haywood once again. So it does. This is autobiography starting from 1896. So you can imagine all the stuff that is talked about. So 1898 actually. So you can imagine all the stuff that is talked about.
okay.
And yes, so and I just noticing it's almost 10 o'clock for me, which means we've been here about 2 hours and we're on page 19. You can
Oops.
imagine
It's gonna
how
be.
long this is gonna be here forever. And honestly, I am fine with that
Yeah.
because not only it's a obviously physically big book, but the content in it it's a lot to get through, and it definitely creates discussion with us in case. the rapport between us, which is really good to get through. We talk
It's
about
4 a.m. for
really
me.
hard stuff to talk about. It's 11 p.m. for me. Well, congratulations for being in the future.
I remember
Don't tell me
Pa.
what's going to happen.
Oh, sorry. Don't tell me what's gonna happen. You silly goose. In 1908, Jack John. Oh wait, fuck! I read that. Pa said that it was the occasion for a new round of lynchings in the South. There were other great black fighters, Sam Langford, Joe Jeanette, and Sam McVeigh, for instance. But Johnson was the first black heavyweight to be able to fight for the championship and the first to win it. He
So
was
just imagine that a round of lynchings in the South because a black heavyweight champion beat a white boxer. I'm at just to show how fragile the white superiority is. It's just a black boxer beats a white boxer, and all of a sudden they feel the need to start killing every black person they see. It just goes to show just how fragile they really are, and it's
true.
just absolutely disgusting because these black people died because these white people were butthurt that a white guy lost to a black guy in a boxing match.
Oh, you can read this
Yeah,
paragraph.
he was he was conscious that he was a black man in a racist world. I'm black. They never let me forget it. I'm black. I will never forget it. Jeffries had been pushed as the hope of the white race to reclaim the heavyweight crown from Johnson. When Johnson knocked out Jeffrey, when Johnson knocked out Jeffries, it was a symbol of black defiance and self-assertion.
They're fucking boxing, you idiots. The
Yeah,
fuck?
it's the whole point. You're supposed to fight each other. You're supposed to fight each other. Are you seriously that mad? Yeah, fight with white
I'm
fragility.
sorry you fucking lost. Be better.
Yeah, that's just absolutely terrible. During this time, so, to blacks, the victory meant pride and hope. It was a challenge to the authority of bigoted whites, and to them, it called for extra measures to keep the niggers in their place. Just imagine that some black guy beat a white guy in a boxing match, and they decided to start. Oh, we need to keep the black people in their place. Fuck off. It's just absolute.
It's
Of course,
disgusting.
yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. Of course, between the races is not. Of course, it's much better than it was today. It's still bad, but to see the kind of stuff that how any little thing set them off, it's just. I'm
So
not glad.
fragile.
Exactly. I'm glad, honestly, I'm born at this time. I would not want to be born. I'm not one of those people who thinks, man, I was born in the wrong generation. Nope.
I'm fine.
I was born in the right one because I did not want to die because some white guy lost to a black guy in a boxing match.
Ugh.
Two people I have no relation to, don't care about, and I'm gonna have to die for it? Absolutely not. Oh, also, you want to know how he won? He fucking dipped and dodged. He was literally just not getting hit.
Nice.
Gee. Oh, so he was just a good boxer. So the other guy sucked ass, and other people had to pay for it. To us children, black repression seemed restricted to the South, outside the orbit of our immediate experience. As I saw it then, there was no deliberate plot of white against black. I thought there were two kinds of white folk, good and bad. The latter was mainly in the South. Most of those I knew in South Omaha were good people. Disillusionment came later in my life. Ooh, Butvig, who did you ban? Lame name here. Anyway,
That's fair. I trust you, Black. Go off.
yeah, I'm gonna trust you here. No. The friendly interracial atmosphere of South Omaha was illustrated by the presence of Officer Bingham and Officer Bayou, two black cops in the town's small police force.
I like his name pronounced Baloo. I think it's
Baloo.
cuter. Like a
Baloo.
bear. I don't know. It's cute. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Two black cops in a town's small police force. Bingham was a big, black, and jolly fellow. His beat was our neighborhood. Baloo was tall, slim, ramrod straight, and light brown skinned black. He was a veteran of the Black Tent Cavalry. He had fought in the Indian Wars against Geronimo and had participated in the chase of Fort Billy the Kid. Wow.
Wow.
Actually,
Interesting.
another story that I have, I actually visited the jail of Billy the Kid.
Really?
When I was younger, we went to like one of those missions or whatever. I forgot where it was exactly. Oh, hold on. It's either on my side or the stream. Oh no, the stream's working well. It
Okay.
was just buffering from my end. Anyway, so yeah, I went to go visit the jail of Billy the Kid. It was pretty cool.
Where is that at?
I think it's in Texas. I think. I can't remember. I was young and I don't remember anything. My parents and like family were just like, "Hey, let's go to this place." I'm like, "All right."
Dope.
Just
Let's go.
vibing through life as a kid. As you do.
Nice. I love that.
Never thinking of, oh, I want to go back to those days. I hate thinking.
I hate thinking. It sucks.
Too much going on. Balu was also a veteran of the Spanish-American War. All the kids, black and white, regarded him with a special awe and respect. Both black officers were treated as respectable members of the community, liked by the people because they had their confidence.
Wait, can
While
you?
they wore guns, they never seemed to use them. These cops fought off tough characters with fists and clubs, pulling a gun only rarely, and then only in self-defense. It seemed that a large part of their duty was to keep the kids out of mischief.
Wow. That's so fucking
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, can you believe it? Can you imagine where cops just making sure that you just don't beat up people?
Yeah.
Just like, hey, don't fight someone. And that's all they do. But now today they, tase people, jaywalking or
Yeah, I
something.
loved in like the Cultural Revolution in the show we watched like they were mostly concerned with traffic law, like traffic. They were like we need to keep these people safe. Like they were focused on how best to keep people safe. And that
Yeah.
is a major like yeah, that's important
Mhm.
if you're going to do something like
Yeah.
that. Like a fucking cop, like
Yeah. Only stop people who are trying to hurt people. It's- X person is trying to kill or hurt someone else. Yeah, stop them. But someone who, what?
how often are there these situations though? Like cops
It's
don't need
not
to
that
be
many
roving
times.
around, like
Oh,
stay in your little
they're
thing
called
and we'll
as
call you when we need you.
yeah,
Like a
they're called on
fireman.
just black people just walking in the neighborhood. So they're called on random situations of people just being people and someone, Karen or whatever.
Well, police contrive like crimes. So
Yeah, they also do make up stuff like, oh, this person was doing this and
they just
they
fucking
weren't
lie,
doing
yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry, you
so
can read.
going back to Big Ben here actually says, dipping and dodging was not the norm. Boxing was a sport early on. It was about toughness and seeing who could hit in the face, chest, arms for longer. And he just said, nah, I'll dodge it. Just wait till you do it yet tonight. I did not know that about boxing history. And
Wow.
yeah, I could
Thanks,
see why they
Ben.
would. Because, so it was, yeah, yeah. El Paso, Texas, I used to live there. I don't live there anymore, but I don't know. We were still in El Paso. As I said, I was just vibing as a kid back then. I wasn't paying attention to where we were going. You were just going places with the family. And the next thing you know, I was at Billy the Kid's jail. So, and even then, when it was told to me, I had no idea what the hell that was. I was like, okay, Billy the Kid. That means nothing to me. But cool, we see this jail cell. Now I'm like, later I'm like, oh, Okay. Now I know. I wish I actually knew back then.
You know who I like literally just fucking learned about because I went to a Christian school and like wasn't taught like anything? I literally just learned about John Brown.
Oh, I never learned about John Brown until maybe 2 years ago, and I learned
I
it
don't
on
know.
my
When I've
own.
learned about him, I think he's kind of based. He's fucking
Oh
based.
yeah, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. He was fucking. Woo!
I learned about him maybe a couple years ago. No more than two. No more than 2 years ago when I learned about John Brown, and I'm so upset that I never learned about him before.
Right?
And it's obvious why he
It's
wouldn't
obvious
teach him.
why we haven't
Yeah,
learned about him. They
especially
hide
since
him.
yeah, especially since we're both from the South, so ain't no way they're gonna be teaching about him.
Right, yeah. You learned about him in 1980? Wow.
He was a one sentence mention in one of my history classes. I'm sure. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that's just, one off mentions that is never really talked about. And they just kind of just, oh, and this thing happened anyway, moving on. Let's talk about how great America is, actually. Yeah, he did lead the raid on Harper's Ferry, which was unsuccessful, and that's where his sons died and where he was later
Oh,
executed
God,
too.
yeah. I watched a dramatization of that, and that shit was brutal. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
I could just imagine what the fucking real stuff was. Like, all of his sons died. And that whole
Yeah.
thing started because, his sons were being friendly and neighborly with black people.
Yeah.
And
And yeah, big problem with John Brown is that he believed other people would do the right thing and
yeah,
join him.
he was a fucking idealist, the poor bastard. Goddamn.
Hmm.
If he was like trained in Marxism, he would have been so much better. He just thought people were going to do like the right thing
Yeah.
when like they heard about what he was doing and they didn't. And boy, did that suck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely it could have been a thing that did talk. Maybe they did mention him in class, or they just try to like make it seem like, oh, he was actually, he he wanted to enslave everybody. He did a lot of bad things to do it. So they try to propagandize us against him. But
Well, that sucks, Merle. There should have been
yeah,
Marxism then.
yeah. Yeah, the most respectable white person in the Civil War era.
Yeah, he was very like I mean, the poor guy.
Hmm.
But his heart was definitely in the right place. So good on
Yeah,
him.
I mean, his heart was in the right place. So yeah, he didn't really do that many bad things, and the reason why they try to say he did do bad things is because he killed people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what they try to say is bad. Like, whatever. I don't give a fuck about slave owners.
Yeah.
He killed people. Yeah, slave owners.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what the slave owners did themselves. First of all, they owned people,
Yeah.
and they also beat and sometimes raped their slaves. So, am I supposed to care that he died? Am I supposed to care that he killed them? Same goes with the Haitian Revolution.
I don't know, Dorian.
They try to talk
I'm
about how.
terrible with dates and how they. You know what I really want? Somebody should really do this for me. This would really be helpful. I need like a visual timeline, like a timeline, just with like everything. Can you do that? You can use multiple, but like somebody please do that for like every country or something. I don't know how you're gonna do it. It's gonna be a lot.
A lot of people use that same kind of the whole killing people thing, and it makes them bad. Was the Haitian Revolution, where the slaves revolted and killed all the slave owners and their families. And good.
Yeah, I don't feel bad like at
Yeah,
all for
and the fact
no. I don't feel bad for the kulaks. Like I don't fucking feel bad for
don't feel
them.
bad for the kulaks. I don't feel bad for the French slave owners in Haiti. I don't feel
No.
bad for the slave owners that were killed by John Brown. I don't care.
Yes, Dorian, it's really not too much to ask. Can you get on that? Okay.
Yeah, I think I need to see something in person to understand what the hell is going on. You can't just like, oh, this happened, this happened, then. I need to see a physical timeline. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it.
Then I can like see, historically, what was happening at which time, and I feel like that would be really helpful. That would be so fucking helpful though. It's ridiculous, but it would be
Hmm.
cool.
Oh yeah, I do remember hearing that Marx and Lenin actually exchanged letters. So I think I think that's true. I think that did happen. Um, Lincoln still sucked though.
John Brown didn't die. John Brown was murdered. John Brown was
Yeah, he was
hung.
murdered.
So, yeah. Yeah.
He was murdered by the state, which, by the way, was carried out by the American state. By the way, before the Civil War. So it was versioning upon the Civil War. It was getting to those tensions, but at the time, it was still the U.S. and it was actually by
Well,
what
John
was
Brown
his
like kind
name?
of started the Civil War, no? Um,
I,
he kind
I
of
don't know if
like
you'll say
like
started the
maybe the
Civil War. It's
catalyst.
yeah, it was definitely like kind of like yeah, he set a spark or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I mean, the Civil War was probably going to happen anyway,
Yeah.
but it the what John Brown did definitely help along the way. It probably what he did probably made it happen sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of several sparks.
Right.
Because there was still a whole lot of abolitionists at the time.
Yeah, the show that I watched with John Brown in it had Frederick Douglass in it, but the portrayal of fucking Frederick Douglass in this is wild. I don't know why they fucking chose to do him like this, but they made him like vain and arrogant and like obsessed with himself. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you make him like that? That's weird, right? That's weird.
Yeah. So Dolby Code says Marx sent a couple letters to Lincoln, and Lincoln replied like once. Marx and Engels never got to know that much about American shit because they lived across the ocean. Okay, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to, I believe the one who carried out his death, or at least the one who fought him in Harper's Ferry, was, oh man, I forgot his name. Um, Robert E. Lee, who was still working for the U.S. at the time before the Civil War broke out. Which, by the way, I remember a PragerU video when they were defending Robert E. Lee, of course. When they defended Robert E. Lee in his fight against John Brown.
Wow.
Yeah. Mask off moment when they defended Robert E. Lee versus John Brown, and they sided with Robert E. Lee. So, if you needed any reason to outright say PragerU is there are a bunch of racists over there, it's that moment there. If you only want one instant, you would say, all right, I just need one instance of proof that
Yeah, he was
PragerU
taught.
was racist. That proves it right there.
John Brown was taught to me in school as a terrorist. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense that they would say that.
Exactly. Unfortunately, not Adobe Comp.
Damn.
One could only wish.
Yeah, it fucking didn't kill Bolsonaro, Trump, and it's definitely not gonna kill. It didn't kill Jordan fucking Peterson, Dennis Prager. Useless.
Yeah, John Brown terrorized those poor slave owners. No.
Oh wow, pick okra.
They never say that part. They just say he's a radical abolitionist. Which means, by the way, what the hell kind of terminology is that? Radical
Radical
abolitionist.
abolitionist.
What kind of term is that? Oh wow, he wanted slaves to not be slaves anymore. Crazy.
It's so fucking weird. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Stop.
It's like, listen, I get it. Fine. You're a conservative, whatever. You want to defend America. You don't have to defend slavery. You don't have to defend that part of history. It's not like, oh, you stop defending slavery, all of a sudden you're no longer conservative. Fine, whatever. Listen, I obviously do want you to stop being conservative and move over. But if you so badly still want to be conservative, you still don't need to defend slavery. You don't need to defend Robert E. Lee. You don't need to defend killing John Brown. You
Well,
can
that's
still
what
be,
conservatism is. Like, what are they
yeah,
conserving, right? They're
yeah,
conserving, white supremacy. They're conserving, like, the capitalist structure and white supremacy. That's what they're conserving, That's really it. They're not conserving the environment, you know?
mm, yeah.
It turns
John Brown really decided to turn violent because sitting and talking and voting didn't work. So he's like, well, there's only one way to get out of here with violence, and lo and behold, that was the only way.
right.
hmm Yeah. Oops. Turns out racism is the core tenet of right wing ideology.
Lincoln was a liberal.
Yes, a racist one too.
I mean, that's typical for liberals, though.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, Republicans can be liberals.
hmm
Yeah, liberalism
Um,
is just
Reagan was a neoliberal. He was a neolib. Even though, of course, he still had conservative values, but his economics was neoliberalism. So
neoliberal
he was
is
the one kind of started it, right?
socially liberal, fiscally conservative, but really,
hmm
like, yeah, pretty sure he understood slavery was violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is the acceptable violence. That's why we always talk here
And that's
about,
the funny
like,
thing.
a violence. People talk about, oh, I'm anti-violence. Okay, well, then you're against, homelessness or houselessness is a type of violence.
Yeah.
Hung, the, was it, fucking, I can't even say my shit anymore. But police brutality, that's violence that is
Oh, so
acceptable under our society now.
very much accepted. You know. And the thing with not only that, but they're against John Brown because he was so overly violent against slave abolition. But then they support they kind of like toe the line of supporting slavery by saying, oh, that's just how it was back then.
Yeah.
It was.
What the fuck is that? That's just
And
how it was, is like what they always say.
oh,
Like, what do
fuck
you
off. People knew.
mean?
People knew slavery was bad. Mhm.
Yeah,
They knew.
of course
They
they
don't
knew.
care.
And it was like, there was terrible things. And they put like laws like
Mhm.
to, oh look, like, see, we're protecting them
Yeah.
legally, the
And people were saying
slaves.
like, "Oh, well, they didn't know about it. That's just product of the time." Well, that's the product of the time. Then how do people come to understand that it was wrong?
Right.
Because
Isn't
they
they always
always
knew
knew
it
it
was
was wrong.
wrong?
hmm They are a product of their time. Yeah, and I get that's always a dumb argument, and it's an argument that you have to fight against. Even though there's some instances where you could be like, "Oh, they were trying, but they still said the wrong thing." You still use it as an argument, but even then, they were still wrong. You have to recognize that they were wrong. You can't still defend them doing that thing.
Oh, jeez, pick okra. I didn't understand that owning other humans via and their children via violent means was It wasn't violent. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fucking joke.
hmm Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They cared about the money. They cared about how powerful they felt. All right. So it is for me 10:24. So I'm gonna just maybe finish this page.
Sure, and then we can
Mm-hmm.
skedaddle.
Skedaddle, skedaddle. Okay, so both black officers were treated respectable members of the community, liked by the people because they had their confidence. While they wore guns, they never seemed to use them. These cops fought tough characters with fists and clubs, pulling a gun only rarely, and then only in self-defense. It seemed that a large part of their duty was to keep the kids out of mischief. Officer Brigham, the Bohemian woman across the alley, would call, "Would you please keep an eye on my boy, Frontal? See, he don't make trouble. Don't worry, Mrs. Bresdo. He's a good boy." Has Haywood been a good boy? Oh yes, Mrs. Hall, he's all right, and he would stop for a chat. My sister Eppa, a lad called Willie Starlins, and I were the only black kids in the Brown Park Elementary School. My brother Otto had already graduated and was in South Omaha High. Our schoolmates were predominantly Bohemians, with a sprinkling of Irish, German, and few Anglo-Americans. My close childhood chums included two Bohemian lads, Frank Brazda and Jimmy Rahu, an Anglo-Irish kid, Earl Parr and Wiggly Ziegler, who was of German parentage. We were an inseparable fivesome in out of either's homes all the time. During my first year in school, I was plagued by asthma, sane, and was absent from school many months at a time. No. The result was that I was a year behind. I finally outgrew this infirmity and became a strong, healthy boy. By the time I reached the 8th grade, I had become one of the best students in my class, sharing this honor with Bohemian girl Bertha Himmel. Both of us could solve any problem in arithmetic. Both were good at spelling, and at inter-school spelling bees, our school usually won the first prize. My self-confidence was encouraged by my teachers, and all of whom were white, and yet uniformly kind and sympathetic. Of course, like all kids, I had plenty of fights, but race was seldom involved. Occasionally, I would hear the word nigger. While it evoked anger in me, it seemed no more disparaging than the term bohunk, sheeny, nago, shanty Irish, or poor white trash. All were terms of common usage, interchangeable as slurring epithets of one's ethnic background, and usually employed outside the hearing of the person in question. So that was a lot. So we took about, 2.5 hours, and we're on page 21. That's just crazy. So, we're going to obviously spend a whole lot of time on the Black Bolshevik. This is, of course, going to be parts of the story. We're going to be moving faster than we did today because since it was just the introduction, there was a lot of stuff so we're going to talk about. A lot of the place of racism in America and how it is today and how policing is what happened. Not how policing hasn't really changed much, but also did change a lot. So, of course, there's probably going to be, different streams where we get through a lot more pages than we did. So, but I really enjoyed it. I really like the book so far. I'm definitely hooked. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's great. I
Mm.
am like hooked. I want to read more. I want to like binge the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's really interesting.
me too.
Um, yeah, we have anarchists here. We have anarchists who come here regularly. But I wouldn't watch an anarchist stream
Hmm.
because I don't because I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I am not interested in leading a reading on Bakunin or Proudhon. I'm good. Yeah, we're about to
Mm.
head out as well. Pick
Yeah.
Okra. Good night, sweet dreams.
Yeah. I'm gonna need to drink a whole lot of water.
Okay, let's
But yes,
see.
I'm definitely gonna be taking a I'm gonna definitely gonna be reading the book more than Sal is because of the language that is used.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's hmm okay.
Kind of like your line on your channel about MLs and tankies. We have a line of this? Oh wait, I mixed you up with someone else. Never mind, that's her. What is our line anyway?
Our
Uh,
line is
uh, Tankies unite.
no. This is our line. It's a long spiel.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
No, someone from
let's.
chat earlier.
That's not a line. This is a line.
But they say I'm a tanky,
Oh,
oh I'm a
thanks, bro.
tanky, yeah I'm a tanky,
Yeah,
yeah I'm
I'm
a
a
tanky.
tanky.
We're riding that
Riding
tank,
that
mowing
tank.
down the
Oh, down
fucking
the
snowflakes.
snowflakes.
It's beautiful.
Love it every time.
Oh no, what is that? Oh shit. I thought that was me playing fucking something on accident.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex. Got our we. Yeah, you can definitely hang around here. We
Yeah.
if you're an anarchist that's willing to listen, then we don't hate you.
Yeah, we definitely don't. Yeah, we
Yeah, if
we
you're just
welcome
yeah,
whoever wants to listen.
yeah, you're welcome to anyone to listen. Even if you know you were someone who's just not an anti-capitalist, and you just came here to listen, then yeah, we'd be cool with that too. Just if you're here to listen, if you're here to come in here aggressive and abrasive, then yeah, we're gonna tell you to fuck off because that's not we're not here to fight people and trolls. We're not. That's not why we're doing the stream. We're doing the stream to spread knowledge and education and help people grow their knowledge on theory and just on our totalitarian history.
Hmm. Yeah, today was all three: culture, history, and theory. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a business student and I'm still here. Yes,
Glad you're
Ben.
here, Big Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciated your boxing information. Wow, what a lovely
Yeah, I did not
addition.
know that.
Me neither.
Learned something new. My grandfather actually was a boxer, so I have a
Nice.
lot of stories, just stories that I had in my personal life that just keeps on coming back from Black Bolshevik. So nice. That's why I guess, and that's why I'm really liking the book so far because I just keep on drawing it back to my own life and stuff that hey, interconnected stuff. Like they just mentioned Billy the Kid twice, and I just like, oh yeah, I've been to Billy Kid's jail before. Simple little story. That's pretty cool. And honestly, if you guys do have stories that you're willing to share, as we're going along like the Bolshevik, just free to say it if you feel comfortable enough to. Because
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
that's what you want to do is have a discussion,
Absolutely.
and discussion is always good. So we should be back tomorrow with
Yes.
the news. So it'll be me, Sal,
Oh, wow.
Kooks is will be.
Look at this. I used your teachings on shock theory to make an essay for my management theory class, and I got a 90. Nice.
Nice. Good for you. Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
shock, the shock doctrine. It's Naomi Klein.
I have that book
Yeah, it's something I
somewhere.
recommend to all beginners, like
Oh, here it
beginner
is.
baby leftists, because it's a really good, like eye-opening experience on imperialism and how the United States' imperialist arm has reached across the globe. So yeah, that's like one thing I recommend to people who are new leftists.
And I, of course, have the book because I have everything.
Yeah, Reggie is a library.
Yeah.
It is super easy to grasp. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really lovely, Ben. I thanks for telling me that. I really enjoy that. That helped you.
Mhm. Yeah. So tomorrow, once again, I'm saying news is me, Sal. Kooks is supposed to be there once again. Kooks is coming back officially. Huzzah! Because we kept on bullying him to come back.
All hail Chairman Cooks, who
All hail
is
Chairman Kooks. We all worship him.
yes, he can do
And
no wrong.
JJ will be there too. Um, Maybe Hayes. I think I don't. He didn't really say anything, so I hope he'd be there.
Maybe Hayes, yeah.
Maybe Hayes.
Yes, okay. We're gonna raid into Sebs because we love Sebs.
Hmm.
Raid Sebs. Thanks for being
Ooh.
here.
Also, we have an outro.
Oh yeah.
Once again, I want everybody to give a round of applause to Sal for making new intros and now an outro. She
And the
is way
stinger.
good.
The
The
stinger too.
stinger.
You saw one of
I
the
have no idea what
stingers, and
stinger.
right
Oh
now
yes,
I'm gonna
that.
show
Oh
you the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
second
yeah.
stinger that I made. I made 2 stingers. I'm just on fire with this video editing. Like, can't fucking stop me now.
You can start editing everything now.
Right? Thanks, Adobe Cult. Thanks, Quiche. Yes, we do love subs. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.